Food, glorious food. I rise today in support of the Safe Food Victoria Bill of 2026, and I want to take a few moments to talk about why this reform matters and why it's the right thing to do. I'd like to thank the member for Pascoe Vale for taking me on a food tour through his electorate, and I'm going to try and get his debate so that I can go and follow that. It was also great to hear the member for Shepparton talk about her food bowl, and when I did my food show, Mercurio's menu, I certainly went to Shepparton and toured around the area in various places and went to the SPC factory, which is historic. As a child, SPC was always in the cupboard, whether it be, canned spaghetti or baked beans or two fruits or whatever. So, and also the member for Pascoe Vale very much outlined Victoria and its place in Australia as a very, very important food bowl, and I think that's terrific. Of course, in the Mornington Peninsula, we are a fantastic food bowl. We have many, many different products from fruit, from veg. And when I say vegetables, we've got Hawker's potatoes, we've got what else? Fruit, vegetables, cows, goats, chickens, of course, eggs, wines, artisanal products, and such as cheese and honey. We've got Gazzola, who produces some amazing fresh vegetables, and that goes all over the place. We've got Torello's Farm, which produces their own beef as well as their own vegetables, and they're really terrific. The Mornington Peninsula, food and agriculture, is worth $1.3 billion and employs over 7,000 people. So it's an important industry for the community, and it's also food safety is an incredibly important aspect of that. If we're not on top of our food safety, then we lose an industry, people lose their livelihoods. So it is very important. Food is fun, it's creative, it's exciting, it's delicious, tells stories, gives us identity, gives us a place, gives us a history and a place of belonging. Food safety is not any of those things, and it doesn't do any of those things. It's not really very exciting. I know I've had my own restaurant and food businesses, and food safety is an arduous but important task that it is incredibly necessary that we follow it. What food safety does is that it makes sure that we can continue to enjoy our food and enjoy all the other benefits that it provides. So food safety is something that most people don't think of. I might be a bit strange, acting speaker, because I do think about it. But the fact is that if people don't have to think about it, then that's a good sign. It means that the system is working. And just because something is working today, it doesn't mean that it's going to work tomorrow and the next day or the next week. Things change, food changes, production changes, the world changes, and food production changes. So the risks also change, and our regulatory system needs to keep up with that and keep pace and change with it. Right now in Victoria's food safety system is genuinely complicated, and I've experienced that. We have 4 separate acts, 2 responsible ministers, the Department of Health, the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, Dairy Food Safety Victoria, Prime Safe, and 79 local councils all playing a role. That's a lot of moving parts, acting speaker, for what should be straightforward questions. Is our food safe? I recall a moment when I was on Mornington Council, we had a person who had a fish and chip van who also had a seafood facility, and they wanted to sell fresh seafood out of the fish and chip van. They're using fresh fish to cook that for fish and chips, but they weren't allowed to do that. I'm still not quite sure why, but the question is our food safe? Well, obviously, if this van is cooking fresh fish to sell to people, the fish is safe and they should have been able to sell it. But that's, I guess, the complexity of having so many councils and so many organisations looking after food safety. I've been lucky enough to travel around Australia going to food bowls in each state when I had my television food show. And one of the big things that farmers and producers would often talk to me about was the regulatory, red tape. Now, it is there to keep people safe, but their experience, and probably my experience too, was it goes back to that question, is the food safe? I would go to cheese manufacturers, and traditionally cheese is aged on wooden boards. It's been like that for centuries. It's perfectly safe. It's never been dangerous, but for some strange reason in Australia, they changed that around so that cheese had to be aged on stainless steel. It's not the same thing. It changes the flavour and changes timing and all of those sorts of things. I do believe that's been changed, which I think is a good thing. But again, it's just this sort of very simple understanding that with so many different bodies looking after food safety, there's confusion, there's contradictory elements to it, and it makes it very, very difficult. Food safety is hard work. When I had my restaurant, we would put the food out. Obviously, if we didn't put safe food out, we would go out of business very quickly. The great thing about having a restaurant is putting food on the table and feeding people and nourishing them. The worst thing about a restaurant is when you close, you then spend an hour to an hour and a half cleaning the fridges every day, cleaning everything to within an inch of its life. And obviously there are regulations about that. Prime safe, if you're doing meat, if you're a butcher, they come down on you pretty hard. So this bill is really about bringing everything together and making things more simple. It's consolidating all of those things like Prime Safe and the Dairy Food Safety Victoria together, along with the food safety functions currently sitting inside the Department of Health. One agency, one front door, a clear paddock to plate approach to keeping Victoria safe. And I also just might take a moment to be clear about something else, because it's worth saying this directly, Acting Speaker. This is not about cutting corners. This is not about watering down our food safety standards. This isn't about, the idea of maybe cutting red tape so things are a little bit easier and people have an easier opportunity of getting away with things. The whole point of this reform is to make our food safety system stronger and more responsive, not weaker. Safe food is the starting point. The non-negotiable and everything else flows from there. And I think that's a really important thing to remember. I think about businesses in my electorate, and I think about the complexity that they deal with and that I dealt with. Take a diversified farm operation, for example, a business that processes meat, grows vegetables, runs a farm gate and does some food manufacturing on the site. And one of those, as I said, was Torello's, which is in Dramana. They do an amazing job, but they do all of it. And I know over the years as a councillor, I've had involvement with them, trying to assist them with various food safety elements from council, from Prime Safe and other things. Under the current system, that business could be dealing with, as I said, a Prime Safe licence, a registration with Agricultural Victoria, and a separate registration with their local council, all at the same time. That's not a system designed to help businesses succeed. I had a bloke called Paul Stafford come to my office a little while ago. He has a business called Bigger Than Texas, does smoked meats and things, and he just wanted to talk to me about the fact that he can control above the line, numbers of staff and food costs, but he can't control the stuff below that, which often comes from all the regulatory processes that he has to go through, adhere to, and fill out. So he was saying that, as a hospitality person, he was thinking about getting out of the business. Obviously, maybe this bill will make a change, and maybe he will consider, now that it's a one-stop shop, about not getting out of the business. But staying put. I don't have too much time left, Acting Speaker. This reform has been a long time coming, and it has been done properly with more than 60 individual consultations with industry groups and stakeholders. An Engage Victoria process that drew over 120 submissions, and of those submissions, 93% were supportive of the direction. The dairy industry alone has had around 20 individual meetings since December 2024, including with the Minister. I think there's a lot of thought has been put into this. Also, we're not the first to make this change, which is good. Where New South Wales has done it, Queensland has done it, New Zealand has done it, and it's worked. A consolidated food safety regulator is a proven model that works, and it's long past time Victoria joined that list. This is a sensible reform. This will keep Victorians safe and make it simpler to do business in this state. I commend the bill to the House.